He thought the money make you happy, it don't make you different. I start to see that shit myself when I got a couple million. Roll through the mud, I can't lie, I seen too much. Real steppers outside there squeezing bust. I told my brother had some patience and your day'll come. Now he sitting in the county jail and he ain't got no bun. You can't walk inside my shoes like a sneaker come. I overcome obstacles and they still come. I was trying to make a way out like it was my first day out. Remember my first.
We're back for episode 3 of the 344,000 mile E39 M5. In today's video, I wanted to make a third part of sort of the documentary and just documenting this car in the starting stages. We went ahead and did video number 1, which was the purchase and all around inspection of the car. We did video 2, where we just covered mainly the issues and what needs to be addressed right now. And then 3, I wanted to separately cover value. I'm sure you guys had enough of me going over this car, covering the condition, the issues. We don't need to get into that. This video is just strictly based on value, and I will be throwing in examples of the previous cars. I will be throwing in examples of this car, and I will be throwing in examples of other cars that are somewhat similar that have sold around this range. The main reason why I wanted to make a separate video on value and price is because these cars have a very hard market. About 3 years ago, possibly 4 now, these cars were at rock bottom. You could pick these things up all day for under 10,000. Low mileage cars under 10 grand. If you still are searching, you probably find some old posts that are like 150,000 miles for like 8 grand. These cars basically hit rock bottom and had no value, and that was the time to buy them. Unfortunately now, well, unfortunately for the buyers and fortunate for the sellers, that these cars are on the rise. These cars are now worth, I would say, upwards of 10 to 20 grand for rough examples. Obviously, those clean, low mileage cars are in the 30, 40 grands. The collectibles are up in the 60, 70s. EAG has cars that are going for 200 grand. So these cars are very hard to price, and they're very hard of a market because it's really all up to us on what we sell them for and what we actually take. So we're basically controlling the market. There is a demand for these cars, but ultimately it is the sellers. So I wanted to make this video separate because this car is a very hard example to price. This car is 24 years old, 344,000 miles. I paid $11,000 cash for this car all in. I had to drive 9 hours, so I paid expenses, I paid for gas, hotel, travel costs, all of that. So it ended up probably being like $12,000 trip. So this car has cost me $12,000 as it sits. Exactly how you see is exactly how I bought it. Value all does depend on condition of the car. Of course, mileage is the biggest sole factor, but condition besides that is basically where everybody's looking at. Your maintenance is what everybody's looking at and basing your value off of after that. And then thirdly, I would say your options of the car. So people with faux leather, Alcantara, two-tone ostrich leather, there's a bunch of other little things, M audio speaker, nav, PDC, parking sensors, stuff like that. Those all bump up your value. So if you have a car with those things, those are definitely going to affect your value. And then also very little things like what color trim you have, what condition it's in, sport steering wheel, pre-facelift dials versus facelift, facelifted headlights, if they're OEM, if they're aftermarket, if they're retrofitted, OEM bumpers, headlight washers, all things like that all affect value. Very minimal, but people do look for those things, especially if you have one of those low mileage collector cars. Those are 100% going to be accounted for in the sale. A huge factor on these cars is the Style 65 wheels. It's very hard to find people that actually like aftermarket wheels on this car, especially like these. Nobody really is vouching for these or liking these. A lot of people are wanting me to go back to Style 65s. Me personally, I do appreciate aftermarket wheels on this car. I believe Style 65s are definitely for the stock, very clean example cars. Anything that is higher mileage, aftermarket or modified, I love to see aftermarket wheels. I think it adds a little bit more to the car, gives it a better look. Style 65s are just an older look to me. I believe that you look like you got a collector's car and it sits in the garage. I want a car that's out in the streets, that's driving, that's being beat and abused but taken care of. As far as the 4 cars I've owned, My first E39 M5 was a titanium silver over Le Mans blue. I'll go ahead and throw in some picture I have right here. That car had 230,000 miles. I bought that in the very beginning of, I believe, 2019, right when COVID hit. I ended up buying that car for $5,000, but that car had a whole bunch of issues and the seller said the car was perfect, which it 100% was not. I threw so much money at that car and I was never able to figure it out or actually get that car into a perfect driving state. But that car honestly was the best car I've ever bought for the price and for the health of that car. Even with the problems, that car had the most power, the most torque. That car pulled the hardest. I don't even remember at this point if I made all my money back. I ended up selling it for $10,000 as is. I put a bunch of money into it, aftermarket parts, basically cleaned up as much as I could, and I just never ended up figuring it out. And I did replace it with a second titanium silver car that I bought for $7,500, I believe in 2020, possibly 2021. And that car I bought from Oceanside, Cali, and it needed a transmission. I'll go ahead and again throw in pictures. That car was in pretty rough condition overall. Mechanically, the engine, best engine I've ever had, hands down. Didn't need a single mechanical thing engine wise. It pulled amazing, sounded amazing. It was an 01 and it had no Vanos knock on startup, which I love, which I started looking for too. So if the pre-facelift guys, Vanos knock is absolutely terrible on startup, but it's absolutely no problem. It's completely normal. It is just annoying to me. So I do prefer 2001 engines for that reason. So yeah, I ended up buying that car for $7,500. I put a transmission, clutch, flywheel, rear main seal, short shifter bushings, all that. Car ended up needing starter, alternator, DME, a line and a new key, and that car was solid. Never gave me a single issue again. Just had a small oil leak, was the only reason why I kind of got fed up with it. And the interior was absolutely trashed. I'll see if I have any pictures left, but the interior was absolutely trashed in that car and was probably the worst interior I've ever had, which just made me sick and tired of that car. And I ended up selling it because I could not source another interior and I didn't feel like paying $4 or $5 grand for a custom interior. Moving on to the third car, I bought the Jet Black, which you guys have seen the biggest and the most recent series on. I bought that car in absolutely terrible condition again from Hollywood, Cali. And I'll throw in again pictures of that car, which you can see, which was right here, and filmed a bunch of videos. So if you haven't seen that series, go check out that series, which is definitely interesting. We did a bunch of work, learned a lot of things, and also bought parts cars and flip cars in the process to build that car. So I bought that car again for $7,500. It had carbon buildup and was throwing secondary air pump codes, but that car had $30,000 in maintenance, including all new vanos, a bunch of, basically everything bolted onto the motor was done. They even carbon cleaned it, but I don't think they did it fully right. So that car suffered from a little bit of carbon buildup, but that car was reliable. Never gave me a single issue but a dead battery. I ended up doing all that work. I'll throw in before and after pictures. And then I ended up selling that car for $13,000. And I'll double back again. Sorry, I forgot to say, I sold the second titanium silver car for $13,500. That car I put probably the most money into, the most mechanical work, so that's where I got my most money out of. So I sold that one for $13,500, and I sold the Jet Black for $13,000. And here we are today with this 2000 E39 M5, 344,000 miles. I bought this car for $11,000 cash in Sacramento. Longest drive, most expensive car, highest mileage car, biggest gamble, but here we are today, and I'm bringing this content straight to you guys, and we're gonna jump into this car as soon as we can. Talking with the previous owner, I was able to get some more information on the car. The car actually ended up running through Cars and Bids, and I think was posted in the high 20,000s, if you could even believe that. And getting some intel from the previous owner, I was able to see that the car did actually end up selling for $22,000. The people that I bought the car off of were the people that bought and paid 22 grand for the car, and I ended up buying it back for 11. I did have another example of probably what you guys seen on legit street cars, the car having 400,000 miles. I can't remember exactly what that car sold for. The car had almost 400,000 miles, but was fully maintained and was in pretty good condition for what it was. Still, let me know what you guys think, if that's a steal or if that's a rip-off. Let me know what you guys think. I do apologize if this video is extremely boring or not what you're looking for. I do want to make this series, but your boy is kind of broke. Holiday seasons, work is very slow, and just spent a little too much on this car than I should have, so we're gonna save up some money. We're gonna get a parts pile, start accumulating. I have a bunch of parts in the garage I need to flip, sell, go through, and then I promise you we will get straight into this video and straight into the series of building this car and perfecting this thing. Just bear with me. I do like making these documentary style videos. I want to document these cars, this value, especially on this car and where it came from. I believe this should be on the internet. There isn't much for these cars on the internet. Surprisingly, you would think there is, but the automotive YouTube channels behind these aren't the best. Of course, Stretton and E39 Source, best hands down, but there's not much other smaller channels or channels that are going more in depth with these extreme high mileage cars. So I want to be that for you guys and give you everything I can on this car and put out as much info. I want to put out as much as I can for this car and show you what's behind it. Do let me know in the comments below what you think I paid on this car. Possibly add your and chime in on the other values of the other cars. These cars are very hard to price, but I believe I got a killer deal with this car, especially with the Stop Tech big brake kit, being a dine-in package car, OEM ostrich leather interior, two-tone in perfect condition, all OEM body panels. These bumpers are a huge plus. Most cars don't have them, OEM Euros. But again, all those other videos are going over this car fully. If you do got some time, go check out the video where I go over this car and I go over all the positive, all the negatives. Go over that and then come back here. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I got a good deal. Tell me if I got ripped off and scammed, or let me know what you think. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This will be the third and most likely the last in this documentary series of this car. I just wanted to bring it to you and give you guys everything up front. I appreciate everybody for staying tuned, everybody for new subscribers, everybody for watching the videos. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get the watch hours up. Everybody stay tuned for the full video, and I'll get back to you soon with some more content. I appreciate you guys. Later.